Senzo Mchunu and the Murder Economy, Leadership in the Age of Cartels. Senzo Mchunu is one of the polished master leaders of the ANC. As Minister of Police, he should be the custodian of law and order. Yet in South Africa's murder economy, where politics, cartels, and organized crime bleed into one another, he is not only a statesman but a player in the underworld. Recently, Senzo Mchunu stepped out of the shadows, publicly declaring Brian Magutsi as his comrade. To the public, Senzo Mchunu is soft-spoken, likable, and respected. To the underworld, he is a strategist, moving with the calculation of a mafia boss, navigating relationships where bullets, not ballots, are the ultimate currency. This is the paradox of the murder economy. The very leaders tasked with dismantling crime are entangled in its networks, borrowing its strategies of loyalty, secrecy, and violence to survive. The murder economy as leadership school. South Africa's murder economy operates like a shadow government. Assassinations are used to silence whistleblowers, cartels infiltrate state contracts, and political leaders form pacts with underworld figures. Behind the bloodshed lies something colder: strategy. Organized crime bosses do not survive because of brute force alone. They thrive because they master vision, loyalty, and adaptability. The same traits that keep them ahead of rivals are now seeping into political leadership. The lesson is not to glorify criminals. It is to recognize that their methods are being transplanted into our politics. Long-term vision and planning. Cartels plan years ahead, predicting law enforcement trends and political shifts. Mchunu and his circle operate no differently. Lesson: in the murder economy, survival depends on foresight. The same is true for ethical leaders. Plan with vision, but don't let vision descend into conspiracy. Building and managing networks. Cartels thrive by weaving alliances across industries, unions, and government departments. When ministers declare cartel bosses as comrades, the line is erased. Lesson: networks are power. But networks built on blood and bribes rot from within. Build yours on trust, reciprocity, and integrity. Delegation and trust. Crime bosses never act alone. Lieutenants and foot soldiers execute orders. Political leaders in the murder economy use proxies, enforcers, and hitmen. Lesson: delegation is a neutral skill. In ethical leadership, it empowers teams. In the underworld, it authorizes killings. Psychology and fear. Cartels manipulate fear and loyalty. Politicians replicate the same. Silence critics with assassinations, reward allies with tenders. Lesson: true leadership requires emotional intelligence. Use it for inspiration, not intimidation. Adaptability. Under pressure, cartel bosses shift operations quickly when rivals close in. Ministers caught in scandals reinvent themselves overnight. Lesson: adaptability is survival. But in the murder economy, adaptation often means betrayal. Culture of loyalty. Cartels command fierce loyalty, not just by fear, but by creating belonging. The ANC's comrade culture has been hijacked into a mirror of this mafia-style loyalty. Lesson: loyalty can build or destroy. A culture of loyalty to truth heals. Loyalty to crime kills. Resourcefulness. Criminal syndicates turn scraps into empires. In the murder economy, politicians turn state coffers into personal vaults. Lesson: resourcefulness should lift society, not loot it. Operational secrecy. Cartels survive by compartmentalizing secrets. Politicians mimic this with closed networks, coded messages, and selective leaks. Lesson: security is important, but secrecy in governance always breeds rot. Calculated risks. Every cartel move is a gamble. Ministers in the murder economy gamble with lives, reputations, and even the stability of the state. Lesson: risk-taking is inevitable, but the highest risk for society is allowing criminal calculation to replace ethical leadership. Exploiting weaknesses. Cartels exploit weak institutions. In South Africa, political cartels exploit failing policing, weak prosecutions, and divided communities. Lesson: in ethical leadership, Identify weaknesses to strengthen society. In the murder economy, weaknesses are prey. Conclusion: leadership at the crossroads. The murder economy is not just a metaphor. It is the reality of South Africa's political bloodstream, a system where assassination, cartel infiltration, and political loyalty are fused. Senzo Mchunu stands as the embodiment of this paradox, a respected leader, yet a man tied to the same networks that fuel crime, corruption, and killings. The lessons of organized crime are clear: vision, loyalty, adaptability, networks. But in the hands of cartels and their political allies, these lessons are poisoned. The question for South Africa is simple. Will these strategies continue to serve the murder economy, or will ethical leaders reclaim them to serve the people?